Hi, welcome to my current day in the life of a beginner UX designer. I started my first full-time UX job 5 months ago, and it's been going pretty well, I think. So I just finished my first round of things that I do in the morning, which I will go over right now. So first thing I do is get up from bed at 8 a.m. A little before 8 a.m. because my first meeting is at 8. This is what my bed looks like because I hop straight from here to my desk. So I'm gonna just clean this really quickly. And so that took about 30 seconds. Yay. So it's a bit messy, but it's okay because sometimes when I'm bored, I'll just lay on bed. So I know it'll get messy anyways. So from 8 to 10, I am sitting at my desk going through my first few meetings of the day. And today at least, the stand-up, which is when we go over what we've done for the past day, that usually takes around 5-ish minutes. My usual updates are like, worked on this mock-up, and this is the iteration that we're on. These are the meetings I had yesterday, and they were helpful because they're usually very helpful. Then today I had my one-on-one with my manager, so I usually have one every 2 weeks, I think. I really enjoy that about the company where I work because you get to actually talk to people who are managing you and they know what's going on in your life. So some things I discussed during that one-on-one were social stuff, so like how to get more involved as a new hire who joined during coronavirus lockdown. I don't have too many friends from like meeting people randomly because you're not in the office. So I talked about that. I also talked about how to join this mentorship program that the women in Appian like affinity group hosts, and how to sign up as a protege. So I just signed up and I'll get a mentor within the next 30 days, hopefully. And then I signed up for a design review, which means that I shadowed a more experienced UX designer on how to review UX designs for projects that don't have UX designers. So at my company, our department is relatively small in the engineering department, that is. So we have like 17 UX designers and engineers, like UX engineers. We have a ton of software engineers, but it means that only teams that really need UX design will have a UX designer, and some other teams that don't have it will sometimes want UXDs to go and comment on things. Yeah, so now it's 12, so it's time for me to take my lunch break from 12 to 1, and because today is very rare, I don't have any meetings after this, so it means that it's all up to me to fill up my time with just things on my to-do list. So I'm gonna go eat lunch and get dressed because I rarely get dressed anymore. If it's nice out, which it is, I take a small 30-second walk through the sun to drop off any mail that I need to ship. Lovely day. Okay, now I'm gonna finish some things on my to-do list, starting off with my promotion plan, which is like filling out a bunch of things that I should do before October when I get promoted to be a UX designer 2. I'm a UXD 1 right now, and I joined in October, so it's like a year after you join, you are hopefully promoted. And it's not like a very serious checklist, it's just a set of guidelines for me to aim for once October comes around. So once I fill out this draft, I will send that to my manager and he'll give comments, what he thinks is realistic and what he thinks I should add and stuff like that. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, that did not take very long at all because it was just a quick document thing. But now I'm gonna make some sketches for the graphic design guild. So those took about 30 minutes to do from start to finish. I think they're kind of boring. I think they're very boring. But I think I might just be super biased against vectors. So what I originally had before were these raster drawings, like that. But I didn't think that those were very good and wanted them to look more icon-y, so that's why I did this. Hopefully my next iteration will be more interesting and I'll find a happy medium between total raster and boring vector. So that's what I've done. I wish I could show you what the actual interfaces I make are like, so the UI, UX part of my job, because I've been showing you literally everything else from my meetings to corporate like promotion stuff to little designs, but I think those are secret. But I'll explain what I do, I think, to the best of my ability right now. I have to think about it though. Now this beggeth the question, what do I actually make? The UX and the UI stuff, like where is that? Well, I unfortunately cannot show you because it's, you know, Appian products, but I can explain in as many words as I can how it works. So if you're familiar with the design process, here it is, but I'll just briefly go over it. You start with Empathize, which is to understand your users, understand their needs, their problems, their pain points, and ways and the things that you need to solve in order to create a good solution for them. Next is Define, which is using all that information you got from empathizing and creating narrow scopes, goals, methods to rate success, just like slim down and understandable versions of the information that you got in the previous step. Next is ideate, which is my favorite part. It's to brainstorm, go as wild as you possibly would want to be in your ideas to solve the problem statement that you came up with in the previous two steps. Then comes prototype, which is like finessing your final sketches, wireframes into high fidelity mock-ups of something like a page or an entire flow or the entire app itself. Then you have your prototype. After that, you test the prototype to see how successful it was. And the cool thing is about the design process is that it is not linear at all. At any point, you should go back to, like, you know, if you find out that your scope is actually too large or too small, you go back to Empathize and Define. If you iterate on something and you don't like how it looks, then you just keep iterating and ideating. You can like go ideate, prototype, test as many times as you need, although excessive amounts will be detrimental to finishing on time and also creating a concise, like sweet little package of a design. So I work solely in the ideate and prototype parts of the design process. I've not gotten to the testing yet because I joined recently, so we haven't launched the product yet. But what actually happens is the project manager and the solution owner, so the person who like created the app idea to begin with, will do all the empathizing and all the defining. So we're all very specialized in the design process, which is more efficient, but it has been a transition period for me because I'm used to starting from the beginning and finishing the entire process like as a UX designer. And that makes sense because I think in many tech companies, especially larger ones, like not startups, will have specialized user experience designers, and then like PMs, or even break it up within UX designers so that people can become really good at what they do and do it rapidly. So that's at least what my understanding of the UX design world has been through just talking with friends and my experience. So that's what I do. I start with getting specs from the PMs and understanding users as much as I can without actually meeting them. And then I'll create wireframes to like iterate very quickly, rapidly. Then I'll create low fidelity mockups to show people, and especially the devs, because we're making everything within Appian. And I would describe Appian as, this is how my friend described it to me before I started working here. And I was like, oh, now I actually know what I'm gonna do. But think of it as Squarespace, but for companies that want to like digitize their processes. And like they can get pretty complex, which is why like it's very data driven and process driven. And the UIs are very important because they can get really bogged down in like complexity based on just the project that you're working on. So that's Appian. And we need to show designs to developers as early on as we can so that we understand technically what is possible within Appian and what would be like not worth it and like just too just not within the scope of the product, which makes sense. So that's low fidelity, and then you go into high fidelity. So now you're focusing more on the visual aspect of like, all right, I know I'm gonna need these 4 components, and I know like these graphs and these grids and these images are necessary on this page, and I'm laying them out in this way. Now, how do I make it look as visually compelling as possible? How do I make sure that I understand the hierarchy of what the user needs to do? Is it organized in the best way? Is this rich text going to be bold, or is it going to be regular? Like very nitty-gritty things that make or break a design, I think. So that's the high fidelity version, and then the developers make it. And sometimes the designs will be cut, or they'll look slightly different based on like just timing or difficulty of implementing something. So that's just how the cookie is eaten or crumbles. So yeah, that's what I do, and I'll try to show examples of other things I've done here so you get a good idea of like stuff. Anyways. Oh, I also wanted to give a brief shout out about social life. So it's been tough during the pandemic because I started work remotely and I've yet to go into the office because America has completely fumbled on its keeping its citizens safe. So I don't think we're gonna go back until at least the end of the summer. But it's okay because we have pretty good like fun social events that have introduced me to some people who I really like. Yesterday we just had a UX like team fun bonding time on a remote, I was gonna say scavenger hunt, but it was my first, what's the thing where you're like locked in a room? Escape room. Okay, our first escape room went really well, really enjoyed it. Every other week we have like the department, so engineering events, so there's like game nights and gaming in the middle of the day on Fridays, which I never go to because I'm just like, oh, I gotta finish this one thing by the end of the, I'll just have to finish this by the end of the week. So I've been really appreciative of the fun little things every single week that my company has been hosting, and I really enjoy, at least in my experience and as a UX designer, how relaxed and inviting and chill UX design is as an environment. Some of my friends are consultants or bankers, and it just, like, the whole stereotype of work hard, play hard sounds kind of accurate. And as a more introverted person, I think I would die if I was in an environment like that. So I really appreciate UX design being more, I don't know, inviting than that. So that's my social life at work. Okay, last thing about my workday is there are weekly like fitness, wellness events that are free and over Zoom. And something I signed up for is Barry's bootcamp over Zoom with this incredibly fit Australian trainer. She's awesome. So that's at 6:15 p.m. And that's going to be the last thing on my workday. I think I'm going to show the aftermath of my muscle wreckage during those 45 minutes. But yeah. Okay, so that wraps up not only the 45 minutes of Barry's bootcamp that was hosted by my workplace, but also the day in the life of a new grad UX designer with very little prior experience. I hope this video was helpful to see the work-life balance of like outside of work events and what it's like to work as a creative person in a like STEMmy techie place. I think being a UX designer is a good balance between like the technical side of me and the more, you know, wilder creative, not wild, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm still trying to catch my breath. I've taken this video like 4 times already and I'm still out of breath after those 4 times. Anyways, yeah, I might make a video in the future about just what I've learned once I've gained more experience and maybe like what it's like to go into a design field when I majored in something completely different. I was pre-law and like government in my undergrad, and then I did a master's in computer science. So my extracurricular experience with design was like the only thing that really like helped me with at least the recruiting side of things. Although I think a good, well-rounded education is important to be a good worker or a good person in any position. I don't know what I'm saying, but thanks for watching this if you've gotten this far. Hope it was helpful. Bye.